Yay, how's it going? Welcome to another week here with the Inspirational Lifestyle, aka me, aka Dan Monroe. So I've been having a lot of interesting discussions with clients over the last few months around frame control. Now, frame control is a neuro-linguistic programming term, I believe, and it's around controlling the context and the perception of reality, which is a fancy way of saying that your truth is the strongest truth. So an example to demonstrate what frame is all about, if you think of, I use this one in my book, a homeless person sitting on the side of the road. Now, if you look at that person and you're disgusted by them and you go, why can't you get a job? And, you know, look at them doing all that stuff on the road, whatever it is you think about homeless people, that's your frame. That's the picture frame that you put, the context that you put around that person. Now somebody else could look at that person and say, oh my god, the poor guy, society's really let him down, you know, we've got to do something about this. And that's their frame. What's important to understand is it's the exact same situation. It's just a guy sitting on the road, whatever, the sidewalk, looking homeless. And whatever you attach to that is your frame. Now, I'm not going to go into detail on frame control here. What I want to talk about today is actually mind control. I want to talk about how you can take control of your own thoughts in order to boost your self-confidence and raise your levels of happiness, etc. There are too many people who don't realize that it's their frame that's letting them down, not the situation in life. Another example, let's say you lose all your money. You make a really bad investment and your money just gets cleaned out, right? That's the situation. What happens next depends on your reaction, and it depends on your frame. So if you think that is the end of the world and it's a complete disaster, then the rest of your life after that moment will play out as such, right? Now if you think it's a great opportunity to start fresh and learn something and try some new ideas, then you'll take a completely different path. Again, the same situations happen, just two complete different paths go from that situation. So, I want to talk about how you can change your thoughts from the negative, unhelpful patterns to the positive and helpful patterns. Okay? So let's talk a little bit about mapping out the negative thought patterns that you're making. You need to become consciously aware that you're having these negative thoughts, okay? These unhelpful thoughts. So a little exercise for you to do after you finish watching this video. I want you to go back to a situation that was really upsetting for you, a setback, or I call them derailers, something that just really knocked you for six and stopped you from doing something positive, stopped you from trying to achieve your goals, just really slowed you down in general. I want you to think back to that time and I want you to track what happened throughout the day that that event occurred. So let's say, for example, you got some really bad news, like a family bereavement, or your partner broke up with you, something like that, really bad day like that. I want you to go back in time and ask yourself, what were the thoughts that you were having in reaction to that event? I want you to actually write down these thoughts. So think of them as scripts in your head. So when you reacted, sometimes you can't really remember and you have to kind of guess what you would have been thinking. It's usually the same thing, okay? So write down those thoughts. So let's say your partner broke up with you, you might write things like, oh my god, my world's over, how could she do this to me, how could he do it to me, whatever, probably cheating on me, blah 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 blah, right? All the thoughts that you would have had in reaction to that event. So those are your frame, okay? The event happened, your frame is the context that you put around it, the thoughts, the reactionary, I don't know, mental ideologies that you attach to it, which come from your entire life, right? Because the point I'm trying to make, I guess, in a roundabout way, is that reality is just perception, okay? Whatever the event was, that has nothing attached to it to begin with. That's just an event. It's not good or bad, it's just a thing. What happens next is your reaction to it, your perception of the event. That's your reality. And the great thing is about your perception is you can control it once you learn how. So first off, you need to figure out what are the negative thought patterns that you usually go through when an event like this happens. So if let's say your partner broke up with you and you start blaming yourself. So you have thoughts like, I'm useless, I'm unattractive, no wonder they broke up with me, it was only a matter of time. You're not going to be very good in your next relationship, are you? Because the same thoughts are going to be circling around and they're going to make you into this kind of really unpleasant person to be in a relationship with. What you need to start doing is reframing your thoughts. And this is quite a hard thing to do, and it's something that you need to practice consistently over time. Some people call it positive self-talk. You might call it reframing. You might call it stop thinking techniques, whatever. The way to do it is to first identify the kind of thoughts you have. So go back to one of those situations, list out the kind of thoughts you have. I'm useless, I'm worthless, whatever, the real negative ones. Now the next part of that exercise is to take those thoughts and reverse them. Okay? So take those thoughts and write them out as a complete opposite. It's as simple as that. So let's say you get dumped and you think, oh my god, nobody wants to be with me. The opposite of that is, everybody wants to be with me. Okay? Really, that's that simple. So you write out the complete opposite of that thought. Now we're going to make it even stronger and we're going to add emotion to it. So you've got your thought pattern. So your original thought pattern might be, I'm useless, which makes me feel like there's nothing worth living for. Right? That's the negative pattern, the feeling, like I feel helpless, I feel powerless, whatever the feeling is, right? When you do your reframing, I want you to do the complete opposite again. So everybody wants to be with me, which makes me feel confident and attractive and worthy. Yeah? These are your new thoughts, okay? And it's up to you whether or not these thoughts become your reality or not. Now your brain, the marvelous beast that it is, tries to make things as comfortable as possible for you all the time. And one way that it does this is it tries to not hold conflicting ideologies in your head. So it's very hard for somebody to believe two complete opposite things. And as far as I know, nobody does. Okay? Your brain does that for you. Your brain can't hold on to two opposite beliefs. And this is where you have your real power as a conscious mind. You can change your beliefs. You can change your beliefs by simply jamming your brain full of contradictory information until your brain makes the natural switch to make you more comfortable with the new belief. So let's say, for example, one of your beliefs is around the kind of idea that you're useless, right? That you have no worth, you're unworthy. If you keep hammering your brain with the complete opposite message, I am worthy, I'm confident, I'm great, I'm attractive, blah blah blah. If you keep doing that in some sort of daily ritual process, your brain will eventually give in. It can't hold both of those ideas at the same time. Now, if you've got really negative beliefs about yourself and you're getting into, your late 20s, 30s and onwards, they'll be really strong beliefs by now. They will have been hammered into you probably throughout your entire life. Or you had a big traumatic event that really created those beliefs, yeah? So it's not going to happen overnight that you can change them. But if enough evidence is built up to outweigh the original belief, your brain will make the switch. I know this from personal experience, and I've seen it happen with my clients and many other people who try to engage in their mind control. They try to control their own brain. Yeah? It can happen, I promise you that. So, one way of doing this in a kind of practical way, once you've made that list and you've figured out what all your negative beliefs are and all the things that you say to yourself that aren't helpful to your confidence, and you've done your opposite list, so you've written out in detail the kind of thought patterns that you wish you had, basically. I want you to come up with an exercise where you make a daily ritual out of trying your hardest to believe the positive affirmations. Okay? So one way of doing it is whenever you're going throughout your day, throughout your business, and you get a negative thought, you quickly replace it with the positive one. So for example, let's say I'm in an office meeting and somebody rejects one of my ideas. My negative belief comes up saying, oh, you know, you shouldn't even bother, you know, your ideas are not worthwhile. You can replace that with saying something like, actually my ideas are great, I just need to work on my delivery. Yeah? Do you see what I did there? I changed the negative to a positive, and then I added something to make it real. So I can't just say, yeah, my ideas are great, everybody else is stupid, because I'm not going to believe that. What I can say though is that my ideas are great, and I just need to figure out how to deliver them better, and then everybody else will believe it too. That will change your whole thinking from this negative, get yourself stuck in a rut, why bother mentality, to an action, positive, go-getter, make something happen personality, I guess. This has just been a really quick way of me sort of talking about how you can reframe your thoughts, and just to understand that your thoughts are under your control. There's nobody else's brain in here, just yours. Which means everything that happens in it is you. And that means everything that happens within that brain is under your control. You just need to undertake activities to gain that control. Because your brain's got a lot of autopilot stuff going on. And if you don't get on top of it, it'll switch into that autopilot, which can quite often be unhelpful for you if you haven't set it right in the first place. So if you had all these negative beliefs built up in your childhood, then your autopilot's going to be really skewed towards the negative, and it's going to be really unhelpful for you. You need to get in there and reset that autopilot. And you do that by pummeling it with evidence contrary to the negative stuff that you believe. So obviously the thought patterns are just one thing. Next is taking action, and that's another video in itself. But to sum up, figure out what your negative thought patterns are, write them out, write out the complete opposite, and then start hammering your brain with those new positive affirmations. Over time, your brain cannot resist. It won't take days, it won't even take weeks, maybe it will take months. But after a few months of you just hammering yourself with positive affirmations, you will see a change. Your biochemistry will actually change. It's really interesting how you can control the chemicals pouring throughout your body, sent through your brain, simply by controlling your thoughts. Give it a go, let me know how it goes, and if it works out for you, subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out all my other rants about how to control your mind. Have yourselves a great week. Cheers.